One, I put everything when we're talking about the decision to move, act, whatever, in terms of your you have a decision to make, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to reflect and then you're going to do something. So your decision comes from reflection and decision to move forward. Um, and so what you're really looking at in a lot of ways is risk and reward, right? So what are the risks that are going to happen if this succeeds? What are the risks if this fails? What are the rewards that can happen if I succeed? What are the rewards that could happen if I fail? Because there can be rewards in failure when you really start to look at it. And that actually comes from combining data and feelings. Data and feelings. That's how I always put them together. Like people are like, well, let's look at the data. And I was like, data's one part of the picture. If you're only looking data, you're missing what makes us human, what drives us, what makes us stop, what makes us go, what makes us hesitate. We've got to take in the feelings component. And if we're only looking at the feelings, we're not taking in some of that rational information that we sometimes need, that objectivity we need. So if we look at something we're going to move forward and we want to move forward, we desire moving forward in, it's almost this SWOT-like analysis. And I have this worksheet and I've done this workshop on it about anything we're looking to take on. There's a risk and reward. And how do you really evaluate what does risk and reward really mean? And we go back to what's the data. So if you have a project you want to take on, what goes to the why? The why, that's data, the why of feelings, right? The the things that you want to evolve into. So you typically, when you create something, it's the 5-year business plan. Like, what's your business plan? What is it going into? Okay, well, 5 years from now, what do you see the data looking like, and where do you see yourself feeling, if this is the picture you're looking at? What is the feeling if that's not the picture you're looking at? So where can we bring these two things in of how do I look at the decisions to have risk and reward? Because risk is not the failure. Failure is not, and there's so many people that say this, failure is an opportunity to grow. And it is so easily said and so much more difficult to do if you're not willing to take the time to reflect. So what I thought Fearless and Capable would be a couple years, into this, is it everything? Heck no. There's still things that I'm like, well, that didn't go as planned. But then there's unexpected things because of these things that maybe I haven't gotten to that I anticipated. But other things I've put energy that felt right, like I need to go do this, has risen other areas that I'm going, okay, but then that data point now, like if I can take both of those, the risk of my success, is it really that much risk? And it can be financially, like that's a big data point, right? The money is a data point that also has feelings. You can't ignore that. You cannot ignore that. So, how do you do this? And this is one of the workshop pieces, is you don't do it alone. You don't look at the risk and rewards, and you don't look at the data and the feelings by yourself. You have to branch out. And so I'm always a big proponent of finding your biggest supporter. Find the person that, man, no matter what happens, you lose all your money, every possession, and you're down to nothing, that person will still have your back. Who is that in your life? And if you don't have that, call me up. I will be that person for you. I'm not that for everybody, but I will be that if that's the person you're missing. What do they say? What are their data and feelings to what they know of what you're trying to accomplish or want to do? All right? Go to that person. Go to an expert in the field, not a mentor, an expert. So go to an expert that can give you information about the realities of what you're approaching. So I had a business coach, great human being, really great human being, so well-intentioned, but the style for me did not always match. And it actually left me feeling less than more walking into it. but I needed that experience of the data and the information he was giving me. The feelings weren't great, but the data was good. So I was like, all right, I can't just base my decision to move forward off of this one person. And I can't go to the person that supports me no matter what, because there's a lot of feeling there. There might not be a lot of data. So we're not just going to two people. So then the third person I want you to find typically is, how do I want to phrase this? Sometimes it can be, I don't know if you want me to swear, it's like an asshole. It's somebody who's just, no matter what you say, like they've always got something to counter back with you. And if you're that person, go find another person that you can willingly listen to. But you gotta find someone that's gonna try to cut through some stuff, because they're likely going to challenge both components of yourself, the data and the feelings. There's somebody I know in my circle that, man, I call him and I'm probably gonna be pissed when I get off the phone with him. However, he's got some decent points that I have to take into consideration in my decision, that risk and reward. And then the final person that I always say to, so again, you've got, your supporter, I call it the challenger, then, your expert, and then a mentor. Someone that is, again, in that space, and that's where I think mentorship lives so much more, is we live in that space to help you look at your reflections. Are you really reflecting in ways that are beneficial? Are you missing something? And then we also help with the decision you make forward, not by making it, but by giving you guidance, giving you resources, giving you knowledge and experiences we've had that you might want to consider. So a mentor does a really good job of, I think, in a lot of situations when you find a good mentor, being comfortable with your feelings, being okay challenging them, but not making you walk away pissed off more than you're okay. But then also giving you ideas and thoughts about how you can really go into the data of objectivity. And so, those are the people that I really hold into and say, okay, what value am I going to put? Where do I see data versus feelings that I can bring into it? But that doesn't start until I have my own reflection of it, which comes into the fear, the scared. But what am I scared of? Well, I'm scared of this. Go talk to my mentor about this. Go talk to the people that are going to challenge me. Go talk to those individuals and be honest about what you're scared with. See what they respond. But you got to be really good at just listening and taking it in and then reflecting on the information you get back. So that's something, and there's this kind of whole workshop I've created to try to help answer that. But it really boils down to, there's a whole lot of risk, but there's also a whole lot of reward, and rewards you won't even know, and maybe even acknowledge in the time that it happens.